What do Formula One champions, New Zealand's Olympians, the All Blacks, the biggest names in Hollywood, and reformed drug addicts all have in common? You would never guess, because the secret weapon for all these people strictly flies under the radar. That is, until now. Amanda Miller meets the guru of greatness, who just happens to be a Kiwi.
He's addicted to speed, but it's not the white stuff. Life to him is all about being faster, stronger and better.
It's a challenge I will never be able to master. And there's something about the speed, your mind is so focused on it, you just have to forget everything else.
Dr. Kerry Spackman isn't a world champion, but he's made it his business to create them. This Kiwi neuroscientist knows how to make your brain, your body and your emotions work at their peak. Now he's been hired to work on the minds of New Zealand's present and future Olympians. But whatever you do, you can't ask for names or details.
We've got a few, we call them secret squirrel projects that we're working on, and we're hoping not just to catch up but to leapfrog some of the other countries.
And of course, if we're talking champions, he's got the All Blacks on his client list too. And with the team's current track record, he's got his work cut out for him. Once again, don't expect any revelations. What can you tell us about the All Blacks, the work you're doing with them?
It's like a doctor-patient relationship. It's important that I keep everything confidential.
No. Listen, don't come here. Hey, I'm helping you. Yeah. Don't take the piss out of me.
So what the has Gordon Ramsay got to do with Kerry Spackman?
Okay, so basically today...
One of the many clients he has is Ramsay's deputy chef. And right now he's working online with him in New York. And the hottest names in Hollywood are lining up for the winning treatment.
Now, these are the Hollywood superstars. These are, all your viewers will know who these people are.
Halle Berry?
Can't tell you anybody.
George Clooney?
Can't tell you anybody. Not even any clues. Not even any films or even which TV show, because that's, it's so easy to identify people.
So just what does this doctor actually do? The former maths geek, now saviour to the stars, says he has at least 200 tools that you and I can use. And he can show you just how easily your brain can get things so wrong.
Your brain is not one great big solid thing. If I turn it over, you'll see that it's got lots of little modules in there. And each of these modules has its own little personality. Supposing you're trying to lose weight, one thing is to have a rule in your mind: don't eat chocolate. That's a rule, and that attacks your conscious parts, your logical parts. But unfortunately, there's other parts in your brain that make you want to eat chocolate, unconscious, that you're not aware of. And unless we fix those, you're always going to be a battle between your conscious and your unconscious, between your logical and your emotional. And so what I have to do is not just tell you about all the logical stuff, I've actually got to make you not want the chocolate in the first place, not even feel like it. Change your emotional drives.
And how does that make me a winner?
Well, if everything's aligned, it's like if you're trying to paddle a kayak. If you're paddling in one direction and your rudder's going in the other direction, it's going to be a disaster. You're going to be fighting against yourself. And that's what happens with most people. You end up fighting against yourself. You say, I don't want the chocolate, but you feel like you want the chocolate, as an example.
Brilliant. I won't want chocolate. And as an example of how easily your brain can mislead you, just check this out.
Well, first of all, Amanda, I want you to tell me how much darker the square labelled A is than the square labelled B. If you look at them, A looks quite a bit darker. Would it have twice as much black ink as the B, or 3 times, or 10%? How much more?
Well, I'd say at least 2 times as much black ink.
Okay, well, actually, the A and the B squares are absolutely identical.
No, I don't believe you.
Okay, I can show you that by just covering up the rest of the diagram. And when I do, you can see that the A and B are absolutely identical.
Oh my God, that's so true. That's extraordinary. So how has that tricked me?
Well, the problem is your brain has lots of different modules, and they have little shortcuts wired to do things. And in this case, the shortcuts got it wrong. And the trouble is, many of the other modules in your brain that help you in your behaviour in normal life are also wrong. And so you do things that you don't want to do.
To cope with his expanding client list, Kerry Spackman decided to write a book called The Winner's Bible, and it came about when an elite athlete was desperate for help.
Nothing seemed to work for him, So I really sat down with a blank sheet of paper and said, what could help this person? And what I'm going to start with is his problems and what I know about how the brain actually works from a computational point of view.
There are literally millions of self-help books out there. So what makes yours so different?
I think most self-help books give you a set of rules, and they try to reprogram your brain with a set of instructions. And unfortunately, the human brain doesn't operate that way. What I try to do is understand how the brain works from a really neurophysical point of view, and then see how we can modify it, or change it, or rewire it, as it were, so that the person can get a better outcome.
So one of the tools that you create is your very own Bible, and Kerry Spackman uses his every day.
Your Bible has a series of pages in it. Some of them will be your strengths, weaknesses, things that connect with various parts of your emotions, your big plan, sort of a mind map of your plan. And what you'll do is you'll just turn over those pages each morning. Okay, now I need to do that today, or I need to be part of that today.
There's a bit of a danger here that this is sounding like New Age fluff.
But it is actually based on good, hard neuroscience. So there's a good underpinning as to what we're doing.
Kerry Spackman was a kid who spent his childhood reading and perfecting his maths. He went on to win the senior prize in applied mathematics at Auckland University. Then 3 times World Formula One champion Sir Jackie Stewart plucked the Kiwi from obscurity and landed him on the racetrack to success. The Flying Scotsman got the doctor to create a revolutionary program to train professional test drivers.
Everything he did to perfection. And he's been a great mentor to me in many ways, just because of his personality.
Whoa, all done?
But Dr. Kerry Spackman's come home. He wants to spend time with his granddaughter and 2 kids, and he wants to give something back to his country. So Spark made him an offer he couldn't refuse. But what he's seen so far troubles him.
And I see a lot of our athletes working their butts off, and their coaches trying very hard, but it's all the other stuff around them that's not there. And so that's something that has to change.
Spark wouldn't talk to us about the work Kerry's doing, but he says New Zealand can't take on as many sports as we have in the past Olympics.
A small country like New Zealand can't, at this stage, provide that high level of professionalism to all the sports. It's just not sustainable. So what you really need to do is target your very top sports, the ones that have a pretty good infrastructure, where we are really realistic gold medal winners.
And of course Kerry Spackman wasn't going to tell us what the very top sports are. He says that's the government and Spark's call. And you guessed it, they're not telling. But Kerry Spackman's not at all protective when it comes to telling you about what he considers is his greatest achievement. Susie was a pea addict, yet she lived a wealthy middle-class life with few knowing what was really going on in her world.
There's no way you can get off this drug.
Really? You were that convinced you had no hope?
Yeah. I'd tried before so many times over the years, and I thought, there's just no way. How do you find it inside yourself to stop this drug? And I just could not. Nothing put in front of me would stop me. Nothing could stop me from wanting to have it.
Susie was living a lie, and she was in danger of losing custody of her son. She tried various treatments to shake the drug, all in vain, until she met Kerry Spackman. So what did Kerry Spackman do that was so transformational?
He just managed to find the reasons, or the main reason that would make me stop, and that was my son. But he's managed to help me see it in such a way that it became so potent that everything about my son and everything about my life became way more important than any drug could ever be.
What did you do?
I smashed my pipe, and it had a whole lot of pee in it, and it was like all yummy, like to a pea addict. It was all clean and all yummy and all white and all sitting in there ready to go, but I just smashed it. And I also had 1/2 gram, and I just put water in that and threw that out, and I just felt, I couldn't stop crying, I couldn't stop laughing, I was just so happy to know that it was finally over.
And it had only taken 2 sessions, less than 4 hours. And 1.5 years later, Susie's drug-free and so close to getting her son back.
Well, it is a bit of a miracle, really. It's just that potent, that strong what he does. It's just that incredible.
And that really almost brings tears to my eyes to see the transformation in her. Just a lovely, lovely lady. That, to me, is much more rewarding than someone becoming a world champion.
It's very humbling to know that he cares that much.
Everybody will want to know, what on earth do you charge?
At the top level of sport, I can charge £10,000 a day, which in Kiwi dollars is a lot of money.
So, for some free advice on what is the winning formula for champions, there's the theory that winners are actually born. That Tiger Woods was actually born brilliant.
That's a myth, but there's something about these champions that stands out, absolutely, and I've noticed this across everybody. First of all, they're the hardest workers. Take Schumacher. He was the hardest working guy you've ever met. He didn't need to be there. Ferrari have all the test drivers in the world, but he had this absolute work ethic. The second thing is this relentless attention to detail. A lot of people just do the same thing over and over again. They're just practicing their mistakes. These people take a problem and they break it down and they break it down and they break it down and they break it down. And each time it's just an incremental improvement. There's no shortcuts.
And anything else that you've seen that is consistent in all champions?
An ability to get over disappointment and disaster and to overcome a major setback. That's important. I think the last one is an unshakable belief in themselves. No matter what the circumstances around you are telling you, no matter what all the facts are telling you, these people just know they're going to get there. And getting that level of power inside you is truly, nothing gets in their way. These people have it.
Do you have it?
I guess I must.